Mother died today, or maybe yesterday. I can't be sure. The telegram from the home says, your mother passed away. Funeral tomorrow. Deepest sympathy. Which leaves the matter doubtful. It could have been yesterday.
I wish to see my mother.
Are you mentioning myself? Please come in.
Before anything else, you must see the warden first. He'll be with you in a bit. Thank you.
Oh, consumer salt.
Have a seat.
Thank you.
Madame Marshall entered the home 3 years ago, and I can see that she had no private needs and dependent entirely on you. You don't need to explain yourself. I can see that you are not in a position to see if your mother is well taken care of. In any case, she was much happier in her home.
Yes, sir. I'm very sure about that.
Well then, I suppose you want to see your mother now. Oh, by the way, so here I leave you, Monsieur Mersalt. If you want me for anything, just come and find in my office. And we propose that the funeral will be tomorrow morning, so you can have the rest of the night with your mother's coffin. And by the way, before I forget, I gathered some information from your mother's friend, and she wished to be buried with the rites of the church. I've made some arrangements on this, but I thought I should let you know.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
We put the lid on, but I was told to unscrew it when you came, so you continue. No, don't bother. No? You don't want me to? No. Oh, very well. I understand. Would you like a cup of coffee? Thank you. What's your result? Your coffee. Thank you. Cigarette? Sure. Your mother's friends from the home will be coming to the lake. It's customary. So, how long have you lived here? 5 years. That old lady has been here all day. She was your late mother's friend. Now she says she's completely alone.
I hope you don't mind, but I've given permission to an old friend of your mother to call. His name is Thomas Farrell. He and your mother were in chaperone.
I shall have vivid memories of that day. A blood-red earth headering on mother's covering. Mr. Perez crumbling like a broken marionette.
Marie? Oh, Marie! Marcel, it's a surprise to see you here. I haven't seen you for ages. Come on, let's go swimming. Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
So, what do you say? Wanna watch a movie with me tonight? Can we watch Fernandel? Sure. Wearing black hat. Are you in mourning? Mother died. When did she die? Yesterday. Hey there, man. How have you been? I'm good. How have you been? I'm good. So, do you want to have some cup of coffee? Thank you very much. Here's your coffee.
Oh, thank you, my man.
Tastes good. Do you remember the man I was telling you about? The one who bit off? Look, I'm not the one who looks for trouble. Only, I'm a little bit short-tempered. So I gave him what he was looking for. He was bleeding like a pig when I've done with him. You see, it wasn't my fault. He was asking for it, wasn't he? I'm sure he is. We're good friends, aren't we? No objection. Now, here's another story I want to tell you. There was this woman. We slept together pretty regularly. I gave her everything. Money, jewelry, clothes. I paid for her rent, jackpot, everything. But then, she turns everything into waste. It's the first time I had beaten her until blood came out. Well, not that hard. You know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
I want her to see in some pages. But the only problem is, I'm not good at writing. Can you help me out there?
Why the hell not?
We are pals now, ain't we? Ain't we?
Yes. Time flies by so fast, and I need to go. But thank you for the coffee.
Anytime, anytime.
Hi. I bought you bread.
Thank you. I just want to ask you, do you love me?
That question has no meaning for me. Come on, bring it out.
Who's that?
I think it's Raymond. Let's check it out. Okay.
That's horrible. Go and fetch a policeman, Marisol. I don't like policemen.
Excuse me. What's your name?
Raymond.
Take off that cigarette when you're talking to me.
Can I pick up the cigarette?
Yes, but don't you forget next time that we don't stand for any nonsense. Not from guys like you. He hit me! The coward! He's a pimp!
Excuse me, officer, but is that in order? Calling a man a pimp in the presence of the witnesses? Shut up!
You can go now.
Don't you worry, my pet. We will meet again.
That's enough. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Getting you so tight, you can't stand steady. Why, you're shaking all over.
I'm not tight. Only when I see you standing there looking at me, I can't help trembling. Marisol? Marisol?
Oh, hey Ray.
So, how did it go? It had gone quite smoothly at first. Only then she slapped my face and had turned red. That's when I started trashing her.
Well, you taught her a lesson. Isn't that what you wanted?
I agree. Well, I came here for you to be a witness for me.
Sure, but I didn't know what you want me to say.
It's quite simple. You've only got to tell them that the girl let you down. Okay? Sure. So, do you want to get out? Okay.
That's a good game we had. You saw me. I wasn't good in the billiards. Okay, that's Salamano, right? Where's his dog? Good evening, Monsieur. I was wondering, where is your dog? That bastard. He's gone! I came from the parade ground, and there was a fair. The place was crowded. It may have slipped from the collar. I lost it then.
He'll sure find his way home. It may only take time, but, you know, the policeman may do something about it. It's now likely that anyone will take him in and look for him.
What are you saying? Ah, I think you may visit the police station. They have a pound there for lost pets. There's a big possibility you'll find him there, but I think you need to pay there some amount or something. No way I'll pay for that dog. They kill him for all I care.
Go.
Good evening, Monsieur Rizal.
Mhm.
I hope I'm not disturbing you.
No, sir. What can I do for you?
They won't really take him away from you, will they? Monsieur Rizal. As far as I know, they keep stray dogs for 3 days and wait for their owners to look for them, after which they'll dispose it as they thought fit. Surely they won't do anything like that. If they do, I don't know what will become of me.
Will you marry me?
I don't mind.
Do you love me?
Much as before.
If that's the case, why not marry me?
Marriage is not important. But if it will give you pleasure, we can get married right away.
Marriage is a serious matter.
No?
Suppose another girl had asked you to marry her. I mean, the same way you like me. Would you say yes to her too?
Naturally. Okay. We'll get married whenever you like.
Hello?
Hey there!
Oh, hey Raymond. What's up?
My friend whom I've spoken about you, he invited us to spend our Sunday in his little bungalow just outside Alley 2.
I'm delighted. But I promised my Sunday to spend with a girl.
She could come too. In fact, my friend's wife will be very pleased not to be the only woman in the party of men.
Okay, I'll tell you.
Hey, hold on. I have to tell you something. I've been followed by some Arabs. One of them is the brother of the girl whom I had a row with. If you see them hanging around when you come back, just tell me, okay? The Arab in the left is the man. What is it?
Those 2 Arabs have a grudge against Raymond.
Take.
Okay.
So this is my friend Lisa. This is Marisol and his girl Marie.
This place looks good.
I always spend my holidays and weekends here.
So, shall we go?
This is a good place. Listen, you take on the fellow on the right and give him the revolver if he starts trouble or gets out his knife.
Right. Only if you took his knife out. Other than that, we have no business to shoot.
Stay there, I'm not yet done with him.
He got stabbed by an Arab.
There was a doctor who always spent his Sundays here. Good, let's go to him at once. Now.
You take him to the hospital. I'm just gonna walk.
Okay.
Your lawyer is unable to be present, but you're entitled to reserve your answers to my questions until your lawyer could come. I could answer for myself. Okay. You have the reputation of being a taciturn, a rather self-centered person, and I'd like to know what you have to say to that. I have rarely anything much to say. I'd rather keep my mouth shut. That was the best reason. In any case, it had no importance at all. What interests me is you. There are several reasons that puzzle me about your crime, and I feel sure that you will help me to understand it. It's really quite simple. Give me an account of what you've done that day. Well, it started off when Mason invited Raymond, and Raymond asked me and Marie to tag along. We went to the resort. Then, when we got there, we saw two Arabs. And the next thing we knew, Raymond was stabbed by one of those Arabs. After we went back home, it was so hot and I decided to walk out for a bit. Then I saw one of the Arabs holding the knife, walking towards me. And I thought he intended to kill me. I was blinded by the reflection of the sunlight through his knife, so with my reflex, I shot him 5 times. I help you. With God's help, I'll help you in your trouble. Do you love your mother? Yes. Of course, just like everybody else. Why did you fire 5 consecutive shots? Well, I wouldn't say they're consecutive. I fired 1 at first, and the 4 after a short interval. Why did you pause between the first and the second shot? But why? Why did you go on firing at a prostrate man? I ask you why. I insist on you telling me. Do you know who this is? Of course I do. I believe in God. Even the worst of sinners can obtain forgiveness of Him. But first, he must repent and become like a little child with a simple, trustful heart, open to conviction. Do you believe in God?
No.
That was unthinkable. All men believe in God, even those who reject Him. Do you wish my life to have no meaning? I, anyhow, am a Christian, and I pray Him to forgive you for your sins. My poor young man, how can you not believe that He suffered for your sake? You see? Now won't you own that you believe and put your trust in Him? Never in all my experience have I known a soul so case-hardened as yours. All the criminals who have come before me until now wept when they saw this symbol of our Lord's sufferings. Do you regret what you have done? I feel less regret than a kind of vexation.
The trial proper is about to begin. I will supervise the proceedings and I will take impartial view of the case. Why did you send your mother into an institution?
The reason was simple. I didn't have enough money to assure mother was looked after properly at home.
Did the parting habit cause you any distress?
Neither mother nor I didn't expect much from each other. So we got along to the situation easily.
I had no wish to press the point. Mr. Prosecutor, any more questions for him?
I'd like to know if you've gone back to the stream with the intention of killing the Arab.
No.
Well, in that case, why have you taken a revolver with you, and why did you go back to the exact same spot?
I had no intention of killing the Arab.
Alright? I want you to.
Did his mother complain about his conduct?
Yes, but that didn't mean much. Almost all inmates had grievances against their relatives.
Did her mother reproach him having sent her to the house?
Yes, actually I was surprised by his comments at the funeral.
Can you explain what do you mean by this comment?
He didn't want to see his mother's blood or even shed a single tear. And on the day of the funeral, he left immediately when the ceremony ended. Actually, I was also surprised when one of the undertaker's men told me that he didn't know his mother's age.
He declined to see his mother's body. He smoked cigarettes and slept and drank cafe au lait. Didn't he smoke too? Well, I know I ought to have one. But when the young man offered it, I took it just out of politeness.
Although I had been a great friend of his mother, I only met him once, during the day of the funeral.
How did he behave that day?
Well, I was upset. Far too much upset to notice things. My grief started blinded me, I think. It had been a great shock. My dear friend's death. In fact, I even fainted during the funeral, so I didn't hardly notice the young gentleman at all.
Tell me, did you see the man leave?
No.
I'd like the jury to take a note of this. How long have you known him?
Since the time when I was in their office,
What were the relations between the two of you?
I'm his girlfriend, and he promised me to marry me.
Kindly state the full account on what happened on the day you had sexual intercourse with him for the first time.
We met at the baths, then gone together to watch a movie, then went to his place.
Can you tell me what was the title of the movie you'd gone to see?
Bernadette.
Gentlemen of the jury, I'd like you to note that on that next day after his mother's funeral, that man was going to the swimming pool, starting a liaison with a girl, and going to see a comic film. That's all.
You've got it all wrong. I knew him very well, and I'm sure he hadn't done anything really wrong.
He was a respectable young fellow. He'd been very kind to my dog. And what's more, he's a very decent chap. You've got to understand. This man has no place in the community whose basic principles he has failed to commit or uphold. The preservation of life has been violated. Nor, as heartless as he is, has made any claim to mercy. I ask the jury to give him the gravest penalty of the law, and I ask it without a qualm.
This court has to do an impartial deliberation of this case. Finds the accused guilty of his crime. He has been charged and with the prescription of the law, condemns Mersal to be executed in view of general public.
They moved me to another cell. In this one, lying on my back, I can see the sky, and there's nothing else to see. All my time is spent in watching the slowly changing colors of the sky as day moves on to night. I put my hands behind my head, gaze up, and wait. So really, all my nights were spent in waiting for that dawn. When something happens to me, I want to be ready. Never before had my ears perceived so many noises, such tiny sounds. I hurried to the door and pressed my ear to the rough, cold wood. I listened so intently that I could hear my breathing, quick and hoarse like a dog's panting. Even so, there was an end. My heart hadn't split, and I knew I had another 24 hours to live. I refused to see the chaplain 3 times. I don't feel like talking to him. Life isn't worth living anyhow. I could see that it makes little difference whether one dies at the age of 30 or 40 years. Since in either case, other men and women will continue living. The world will go on as before. When my appeal succeeded, I had earned a good hour's peace of mind, and that anyhow was something. It was at one of these moments that I refused once again to see the chaplain.
Why don't you let me come to see you? I already explained. I didn't believe in God.
Are you really so sure of that?
It doesn't matter whether or not I believe in God. In my mind, this matter is not important.
I often notice one is quite sure about something, when in fact one is not. Don't you agree?
That seemed quite possible. But though I might not be sure about what interested me, I was absolutely sure about what didn't interest me. And your question didn't interest me at all.
Is it because I felt utterly desperate that I spoke like this?
It wasn't despair I felt, but fear.
In that case, God can help you. All the men I've seen in your position turn to Him in their time of trouble.
They were at liberty to do so. If they felt it like it, I, however, didn't want it to be helped. And I hadn't time to work up interest for something that didn't interest me.
My friend, it wasn't because you had been condemned to death that I spoke to you in this way. In my opinion, every man on the earth was under sentence of death. Maybe still, if you don't die soon, you'll die one day. And then the same question will arise. How will you face that terrible final hour?
I'd face it exactly as I'm facing it now.
Have you no hope at all? Do you really think that when you die outright and nothing remains?
Yes!
I'm convinced that your appeal would succeed, but God's justice mattered.
The former had condemned me.
Yes, but it will not absolve you from sin.
I'm not conscious of any sin. All I knew was I'd been guilty of a criminal offense.
These stone walls, I know it only too well, are steeped in human suffering. Believe me, I'm speaking from the depths of my heart. I know that even the wretchedest amongst you have sometimes seen taking form against grayness, a
divine face. It's that face you're asked to see. I'd been staring at those walls for months, and there was nobody, nothing in the world I knew better than I knew them. Do you really love this earthly thing so very much? No, I refuse to believe it. I'm sure you've often wished there was an after. Of course I had. I told him. Everybody has that wish at times. But that had no more importance than wishing to be rich, or to swim very fast, or to have a better shaped mouth. How did you picture the life after the grave? Life in which I can remember this life on earth. That's all I want of it. Why don't you address me as a father, seeing that I'm a priest? You are not my father! No, my son. I'm on your side. But you don't realize it because your heart is hardened. But I shall pray for you. Can you please just shut up? Don't waste your rotten prayers on me! It was better to be a bum than to disappear. I don't believe in God, and you will never convince me. I don't care if I die now without your so-called God. I have more understanding than what you are trying to tell me. All of us will die. Your turn, just like the others, will come very, very soon. And what difference could it make if after being charged with murder, he were executed because he didn't weep at his mother's funeral, since it all came to the same thing in the end? The same thing for Salamano's wife and for Salamano's dog. And that little robot woman was as guilty as the girl from Paris who had Mason married. Or as Marie, who wanted me to marry her. Why did it matter if Raymond was as much as my pal as Celeste, who was a far worthier man? What did it matter? Why? Why did it matter if at this very moment Marie was kissing a new boyfriend? What you're trying to tell me are all nonsense!
What is happening here? Father, I think you need to go now.
Almost for the first time in many months, I thought of my mother. With death so near, Mother must have felt like someone on the brink of freedom, ready to start life all over again. No one in the world had any right to weep for her. And I too felt ready to start life all over again. It was as if that great rush of anger had washed me clean, emptied me of hope. And for the first time, I laid my heart open to the benign indifference of the universe. To feel it so like myself, indeed so brotherly, made me realize that I'd been happy, and that I was happy. For all to be accomplished, for me to feel less lonely, all that remained to hope was that on the day of my execution, there should be a huge crowd of